Hello and welcome to Me and You and Nancy Drew, the podcast where I, Colleen,
and I, Megan,
are delving into the Nancy Drew universe, including the books, the games, the history, and this week we are looking at the first Nancy Drew notebook, The Slumber Party Secret. Megan, did you read these growing up?
I did. I feel like I read these probably around a similar time as the classic books, the yellow ones.
I think so too.
So I might have started running out of the classic books, and so I picked up these ones. And I think I started reading the Nancy Drew books in 4th grade.
I think that sounds about right.
There's a good chance there's a few of these books on my parents' bookshelves still.
That makes sense.
From growing up, because I know we physically had a few of these ones as well.
Yeah, I definitely didn't read these before the grown-up Nancy Drews in any way, shape, or form. I am pretty sure they were just interchangeable to me of yes, I know she's a child in this one and an adult in this one, and that's the same girl.
Exactly. And that's how I viewed it as well. I didn't know anything about the history of Nancy Drew or what I was getting myself into.
I believe I remember them all having a white cover with a little square picture in the middle. And this one specifically, we had to read it through Amazon because Libby did not have this specific one. I believe Libby had most of the other Nancy Drew notebooks, and my public library system, I think there was one that was at a branch 35 minutes away from me. I could not acquire this one for free. So I got a digital copy, and it had a neon pink cover. It had a bow on it. It was the girliest thing. I know those are not gendered things, but this was very stereotypically feminine. This is a little girl book for little girls, even though it had a bunch of boy classmates in it. But I don't know. I feel like the ones I saw growing up were pretty gender neutral because they were white cover, yes, it's about a girl, but you're in 3rd grade. You all look the same, whatever.
I'm looking at a picture of kind of the one that I would have had or would have remembered. Exactly what you're describing. The white one has a little picture frame with the cover. And then we've got this one because I read the same Kindle
see.
version.
Yes. So they had multiple editions of this same book. Yes, it has a picture frame.
Yeah, I was curious about the specific version that we read when that publishing date was. Look real quick.
Yes, the one that we read was published in 1994, but the cover art was, I thought, 1999, which is interesting.
Yes, cover photo illustration copyright 1999. This isn't the cover that I saw in 1999 in my school library. I mean, it usually takes a few years for libraries to get the updated covers.
That's true. And maybe this wasn't their priority. I don't know how heavily read these were.
I'm not sure.
Because I didn't get the impression that these were I'm so lucky that this was available. It seemed like there's always going to be most of these on the shelf.
Yeah.
I would get because this is about the same thickness of a Bailey School Kids or of a My Weird School nowadays. I didn't read those growing up, but that kind of, this will take
J.B.
me.
Jones.
Yes. This won't take super long. I would be reading them maybe in 5th grade, but they're young for me because she's in 3rd grade. So it's meant to be about for 8-year-olds.
Yeah, so I definitely read these in 3rd and 4th grade. But I did, as a 3rd and 4th grader, prefer the classic books that were a little longer and more exciting. Plus, we were an AR school, so accelerated reader school. And so the classic books of Nancy Drew counted for a good amount of points that you could read through a bunch of them quickly and take all the AR tests and get a bunch of AR points. In 4th grade, I got the 2nd highest AR points in the entire school.
That's incredible. While I am not sure how I feel about the pedagogy of the AR system, I am so jealous. I wish I had grown up in that. I would have killed it. I would have killed it so bad.
It's almost within literal physical reach right now in my little treasure box of treasures throughout my life. I have, because it was one of those things, it's if you get this certain number of points, you get a button. For every 20 more points, you get a sticker on your button, a specific one.
Great.
This one's a fish sticker. And so, you could tell, who, just based on looking at it. And so you'd get bedazzled, and then you'd get ribbons if you did even further. So I have a button covered in stickers with 2 ribbons hanging off of it.
Let's go.
Boy, did that motivate little 4th grade Megan.
Oh, yeah, obviously. And it's also cheap as heck. You're not buying infinite prices. That's ribbons and stickers. But it's great.
I mean, AR is the reason I got into reading. Because, I wasn't really that into reading. We had to take 10 AR tests throughout the year that were a certain number of points at a bare minimum.
Is this digital?
Yes.
Okay.
Which was extra fancy because we had like 3
That sounds like a new thing maybe at the time.
And honestly, at those years, we were living in Virginia and we were going to a really nice school in a really nice district. Probably the nicest school I've ever been to, even as a teacher.
Dang.
But yeah, it was like super exciting to get to take, a little digital test, 10 questions on the computer.
That sounds like so much fun.
They all had to be on our AR reading level. We weren't allowed to read something lower than the read. Like, it wouldn't count.
Because I was going to say, it sounds like you read ahead.
I did.
So it could be
and that's exactly what happened.
level.
Was I read Little House in the Big Woods, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that was amazing! This is fun." I read
Books
Little House on the Prairie. I was like, "This one's even better!" And I devoured the whole series, and then after that, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, now what?" And I was like, horse books. I read all of the Marguerite Henry books, and I think I shared this during the
Misty of Chincoteague.
Yes, Misty of Chincoteague, Misty of Assateague.
I didn't know she was from multiple places.
Yeah, well, Chincoteague and Assateague are really close to each other. I think I shared this during Shadow Ranch. I was interested in reading the Nancy Drew books originally because of
there was a horse
Shadow Ranch where she's riding the horse and there's the ghost horse in the background. I was like, oh,
that's 2 horses.
And then after that, I think I read every single Nancy Drew book in the entire library in order.
Incredible.
So,
see, I'm still impressed that you did it in order.
The only way for me.
Well, it's personally. Like, and I'll read it if it like Hunger Games, you read it out of order. It doesn't make that much sense. But Nancy Drew, you can just kind of pick up, especially as a child.
Drew Haiku.
Are you ready to share your Drew Haiku?
Yes.
Since it's one of this series.
Yep. So we're back to some haikus. It was a little hard for me. I had to remind myself of the rules for...
I did see you counting your fingers while we were up to record. You're like, uh-oh, forgot to do the haiku.
Yeah, it's 17 syllables to tell a story is...
Now, hopefully, it is a very short story compared to...
It is, yes.
...previous books we have read for this podcast. However, yeah, it was like, 70 small pages?
Took about 30 minutes to read.
I was like, yeah, I read this morning, and it was not stressful.
Nope. No, it was good. All right, would you like to go first with your haiku?
Oh, sure. Invitations swiped. Party wrecked. Stage makeup screams. Just invite more friends.
I love it. That was actually a really good summary. Mine, as per usual, is mostly just the premise.
That's fine.
Okay, so here's mine. 8-year-old Nancy. Her first sleepover party. She saves the invites.
Excellent. Beautiful. And it did feel like we didn't need to save the invites by the time we were at the party.
That's kind of where I was going with it. We didn't save the invite until, like, her slumber party was,
almost over. Like, it was almost bedtime.
It was almost bedtime when we got the invites.
30-second recap.
I think since you went first for the haiku, I'll go first for the recap.
Sounds good. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
So Nancy and George and Bess are all 8 years old and in 3rd grade, and Rebecca is throwing a party, a slumber party. She can only invite 8 friends, and oh no, all of her invitations got swiped from her house. And it's really sad because they've got like really cute party favors, including a really cute rainbow beret. And Nancy, like, there's like some ominous notes that she has to like try and decode who sent them from her 3rd grade classes. And in the end, it was a bunch of girls from the class who were sad.
Yep, time. Very good.
That they didn't get invited.
That was pretty much exactly 30 seconds.
I know. Yeah, I didn't get to finish the last line, which was that they didn't get invited to the party.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So,
excellent.
All right. It is now your turn. All right.
Count me in.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Nancy is best friends with Rebecca, and by that I mean Rebecca says, "You're my best friend, Nancy," and Nancy's like, "I absolutely know I'm not her best friend," which I thought was funny. I'm spending too much time on this. Rebecca's having a party. She did not invite everyone, which is fine, except for she's being really loud about it at school, so it's like, keep it on the DL, man. And then everyone's like upset, and then a cupcake gets stolen, and then the boys' party like tries to rain on their parade, literally, but at the end it scares them, and then at the end it's literally fine, and Nancy gets a notebook, and it's great.
Good job. 30 seconds. It was a fairly straightforward 3rd grade level mystery.
I will say I'm kind of sad because I thought there was a twist that I had predicted. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so smart. I can predict a third grade story. But like I thought that it was setting it up to be straightforward and that actually there would be a twist. But there was not.
What did you think was going to happen? What
right.
twist?
So what actually happens is the girls that were invited, like there's her neighbor and there's like a classmate and there's like somebody else. And the boys are never going to be invited because, it's a third grade slumber party in 1994 or whatever. But she couldn't invite everyone and she was being super loud about it at school. And it's like, okay, well, that is going to make people feel left out, obviously. But, we don't have all our social skills. So it's obviously those girls. But I thought because it kept saying Rebecca really likes being dramatic, right? Like she's like, oh my gosh, you're solving this mystery for me. You're my best friend ever. Well, she likes being dramatic. And then like at some point she's like acting like the worst thing in the world. And Nancy's like keyword acting because she wants to be an actor when she grows up. And she like there's 3 or 4 different times where she's being really, really dramatic and she needs a lot of attention. And I genuinely thought she was like not only being loud about her party at school to get attention, that also she was wrecking her party to get even more attention.
Oh,
no.
That would have been a crazy twist.
Right? Especially for a third grade,
Yeah.
novel. But I was like, I've got this on lock. No, I don't. That's crazy. It's, in fact, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so Nancy went through the mystery. She never made any assumptions, I think.
No, she was very systematic.
A lot of other students made a lot of assumptions that, it's the boys who stole your invite. It's the boys who stole your cupcake. It's the boys leaving you mean messages. It's the boys outside the window.
Now, some of those were true.
Exactly. Yes, the cupcake was in fact stolen by one of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
The boys were in fact outside the window with silly monster makeup and tapping on the window. And the rain, as you
it was the water
wonderfully
guns.
mentioned. One of the boys had gotten water guns for his birthday, and they were hiding in the bushes and making it like it was raining. No one questioned the fact that it was sunny and raining other than Nancy in her head.
Yes.
But
she's like, I'll think about this, but it's not relevant right this second. But yeah, so the boys did do some of it, especially the boy who comes back covered in frosting. Like he stole a cupcake out of Rebecca's cubby because there's 2 different classes. There's Rebecca's class and then there's, I think, Nancy, Beth, and George are all in the same class. She helps Rebecca carry her cupcakes in that she's going to share with her class. And they're like, what were you helping her? She's like, I was helping her with the cupcakes. And Jason, who's the kid in their class, who's the main punk, is like, oh my gosh, cupcakes, where? And Nancy, without thinking, is like, yeah, they're in Rebecca's cubby. She's just like, I want to give out information. A question was asked and I have the answer. I'm here to help. And then she's like, crap, that's on me. But also when they're trying to like trace the handwriting of who's leaving these little nasty notes, Jason wasn't there that day because he had a dentist appointment. And so I thought it was him leaving the notes too, but it wasn't. Was it the neighbor girl?
Yes.
And she's not in their class, right? Is that why? Or was she not there that day?
She is there. They didn't really explain.
Yeah, actually, wait, what? Because it's such a clever way that she tests the handwriting. Because it mentions, she hasn't done this before. She's like, well, I could help look for this because I help my dad find his keys all the time. And that's pretty much it. She wants to help and she's helped look for keys. And that's like her experience in this world.
Laura,
yes. Well, it didn't help that I think there were 2 girls to start with L.
There are Laura and Lindsay.
And both of them were mad at her.
Yes.
So I like merged them in my brain of like, that's the girl who starts with L who's mad at Rebecca.
Yeah,
how many girls to start with L could there be?
Who's not invited, and one is just a classmate, I think, who isn't invited. And because Jason stole one cupcake, they didn't have enough cupcakes for the class, and she didn't get one. So not only was she mad about not getting invited to the slumber party, she was also mad that she didn't get a cupcake.
Which valid. Okay, sure.
For real. It didn't explain, it explained why the color.
Because there was like a multiple colored pen and then the friend had borrowed it.
Yeah,
so
one of the other girls borrowed it. So she had to write her last nasty note in blue.
Initially, they were in green. Oh, that was something that I liked about this because the classic books just have like Roman numerals for the chapters, but they don't have names. And these chapters all had names. Specifically, I wrote down one that got Sweeney Todd stuck in my head because there was a chapter title called Green Ink and Garbage Cans. And it was like, I don't think I did that to the right tune, but I was thinking Green Finch and Linnet Bird.
Yes. No, you were pretty much on the right notes. Yeah. Just a little lower because
very low right now. I don't know.
Super high soprano.
It is a very high. I'm like, A, I don't want that on the microphone because the microphone does not like that. I know because I had to sing for something and I was trying to record it and the mic wouldn't pick it up. And B, no, I have lost the top half of my voice. Sorry, everybody. It'll come back someday, maybe.
Cliffhanger.
I did not have a ton of cliffhangers, but I really liked the opening line. Just really liked that. It started with, but how can party invitations just disappear? And it's just like, here's the premise. We are starting with dialogue. It also, the first letter was like a big fancy B, so it didn't have quotes. I've seen that before, and it always bothered me as a child of like, even if the letter B is fancy, put the quotes on it.
So one of the things that I wanted to point out, and maybe this is the time to do it as well.
Yeah.
Reading this digital version, I'm like, okay, first page. It gives you the premise of like almost a summary of like, what are you about to read? I was like, okay, great. Then it's like, here's the copyright. I'm like, great. Then it goes, the Slumber Party Secret. And it jumps partway in. It reminded me so much of the beginning of the classic books where they have the picture with one line from it, but it was like a whole section of the book. And I was like, whoa, we are jumping right into the middle right now. It's like Nancy squeezed her eyes shut and asked herself a question. Who stole the party invitations and why? Then Nancy opened her eyes. You know what I think, she said. But her friends Bess and George weren't paying any attention to her. George was watching the video. Bess was staring at something behind Nancy. Before Nancy could turn around, Bess opened her mouth as wide as she could and screamed. Nancy turned around. Framed in the window was a horrible, scary monster. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That wasn't,
and then
that
it
wasn't
gives
the middle. That was like 3 pages from the end.
Yes, and then you turn the page, and it's like, here's the number of Nancy Drew notebooks that there are. Number 1. I was like, wait, so is that not the book? Okay, so we haven't started the book.
So when I loaded it, it went to the first page that I mentioned, and then when I was looking back at copyright info, I was like, oh God, I'm glad I didn't see that.
I felt like there was 2 false starts. I was like, turn the first page. I was like, oh, here's the book. Oh, nope, that's a summary of it. Okay, skip. Here it is.
No?
Oh, nope, that's not it either. Okay, skip.
Yeah, that's very
odd. A
odd.
little confusing because I did see on the copyright page it's recommended for ages 6 to 9. It's a little confusing for a 6-year-old. So many things, so many extra pages for these 6-year-olds. Though what's interesting is on the very, very first page, up in the upper left-hand corner, is the image of the original cover, the picture in the picture frame. Does yours have that?
Yes, I forgot about that.
Which is a less photorealistic. Maybe we could talk about that more in Picture Perfect, but
yeah, I didn't see any of this until I was going back to write down the year. I was like, oh my God, I missed so much front matter, and that's okay.
Cooking corner.
I had one boring one and one medium one and one great one.
I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. So tell me about your boring one.
She just eats a loose carrot that Hannah's like in the middle of prepping for dinner. Yeah. And to be clear, I do that too. I'm like, I'm like shredding the cheese and getting it ready to make a big thing. I'll just eat a couple shreds real quick. So like Hannah's like peeling carrots and washing them and getting them ready for like a bigger meal of some kind. And she just hands Nancy one and she's like snacking on it, which is like normal and great. But I was like, why do we mention it for like one loose carrot?
Yes, I thought the same thing. I literally wrote down carrot.
That's it. Excellent. Do you have a medium one?
My medium one would be the peanut butter crackers and apple juice that they get as a snack when they go visit Rebecca's house.
Yes, that is my medium one as well. I would like to take issue with the verb. Rebecca's mom made them peanut butter crackers and apple juice. She didn't make the apple juice. That's not true.
Possibly
not.
And
she maybe didn't make the peanut butter crackers because sometimes
maybe she did
like that.
Put peanut butter on crackers.
Maybe.
Though anytime I hear peanut butter crackers, I think of like the Ritz ones where they're like a little sandwich with the peanut butter in the middle.
Exactly what I thought was happening. Like that's not. She handed them to you. This little peanut butter cracker snack that's pre-prepared and poured you some apple juice. She didn't make you anything, which is fine, but just pick a different verb.
We might be wrong. She might be one of those like,
she made the
really
peanut butter. She made the cracker.
Yeah, she's got the cold press juice machine.
I guess you do make your own peanut butter.
Juice. I have made my own peanut butter. She is at the blender, blending the peanuts. She's got fresh baked crackers coming out of the oven. Like maybe
the milk
she did
is
make
raw.
this from scratch.
We did not pasteurize any of this.
Nope.
You know what? I could be totally wrong. I'm sorry, Mrs. Rebecca's mom.
That word made does imply that Rebecca's mom is
crunchy.
Crunchy mom? Yeah.
Don't you like that cracker?
What was your more exciting one?
I guess it's not really a snack because I bet yours is about the party, and I didn't write down any food by that point because I don't know, I was too invested in the mystery getting wrapped up. But so the other food I wrote down was I remembered Carson calling her pudding pie in these. Very cute. But I didn't remember that, at least in the first one, it explains that it's because one time she was little and she was just like eating fistfuls of a chocolate pudding pie and it was all over, which is extremely realistic for A, young children, and B, how young children's nicknames get formed and then just stick from one embarrassing and very messy moment. And it was really charming.
No, it was adorable. And
so
they described the picture that's in the photo album somewhere. And I was like, I want that picture. I bet it's cute.
That should have been in the illustrations.
Yes. Oh my gosh, for real. I wrote down the slumber party food, which was classic slumber party food, which is pepperoni pizza, cake, and ice cream.
Absolutely.
That's all you need for an amazing slumber party.
Correct.
Give me
and
pizza.
Also, I don't even.
P-I-Z-Z-A. Do you know this song?
I do not. Is this Mary-Kate and Ashley?
It is Mary-Kate and Ashley. What did you say? I said pizza. I think
We're
that's
keeping
the
it
slumber
in.
party
We received
episode.
complaints that was an outtake and it should have stayed in, so that's staying in.
This is for you.
I also thought the complaint about the cake, like, yes, it's very sad that the icing rose got stolen by the girl that didn't get a cupcake. That was her little revenge.
About the cupcake.
Sure, this is her reparations, great. But, like, then the girl's like, the cake is ruined, and her mom had to, like, refrost it and get, like, sprinkles to cover it up. I'm like, it didn't mention that they were, like, taking a picture or anything, so it does feel like we didn't need to fix it because you're about to eat it anyway.
Yeah, but it does seem like Rebecca really wanted the moment with the beautiful cake with the candles on top. They even had the cake out, they said, because Rebecca wanted to admire how adorable it was, or
it feels like maybe she needs a lot of attention. She's not even an only child, right?
She's an older brother. Yeah.
It was really giving only child.
She really was giving only child vibes. But it does sound like there's a little bit of an age difference. So the brother's 12, so she's like 8. 4 years isn't that bad. That's not.
Yeah.
That's less than your brother and you.
Yeah, Ben and I were 6 years apart, so we were never in the same school. I forgot to also write down, I think this could count as a cooking corner. I love pizza math. Pizza math is my new favorite thing.
Oh my goodness, yes. That was Nancy's biggest clue as to who had stolen the invitations. The one that really cracked the case for her was that there was not just 2 slumber parties happening on their street, but 3. And that the girls who had not been invited and who were upset about it were having their own slumber party across the street.
Which seems like it could have solved the issue.
Yeah, for real. But Nancy was able to figure that out by watching the pizza man deliver too many pizzas.
So she draws out in her brand new notebook from her father, which I know we'll talk about later, but that's why it's called the Nancy Drew notebook, is she has one specific blue spiral notebook because it's her favorite color, which I think is like a nod to her convertible, which is very cute. And she like draws out the 3 circles of the pizza. She's like, how many slices are in a pizza? I'm like, girl, we just ate pizza. Okay, sure. All right.
She just wants everyone else to tell her so that she's not like, I didn't just come up with this. You told me it's 8 pieces.
Oh, I bet.
You know what I mean?
That's actually really cute. She's involving there. She's like, so she draws, she, divides the 3 circles. She divides them into 8 pieces each. And then she like puts little initials in of like, okay. So she's got an older brother, right? How many slices can an older brother eat? They're like, probably 6. So then she puts a B for brother and 6 of the slices. And she like counts out like, okay, both her parents are probably home. She's like, there's still 2, and she counts out for her, for the parents, the brother, and her. She's like, still too many. There's a lot left over, guys. Even with 2 adults and a teenage boy eating, like this is too much.
This is too much. There are clearly other people at that house right now. And she was right.
Fashion police.
The only thing I wrote down was the outfits that they wore to the slumber party. Carson loaded up all of Nancy's things, drove to Bess's house, got Bess, loaded up her slumber party things, went to George's house. And so it described as each girl got into the car what they were wearing, which I thought was adorable.
And also he's like, thank God we don't have a 4th girl to pick up because there's no room with all of you guys' crap. He doesn't say crap, but he's like, there's so much stuff in here. And I've been there of like, you have your sleeping bag. You have maybe a bag with some stuffies. Maybe you're bringing a pillow. That's already so much.
And they're
then
all
like any
bringing
toiletry,
birthday presents.
Gift. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, so Nancy is wearing a long-sleeved flower dress, which we do see in some of the illustrations. And then I love Bess's outfit. Purple checked jumper, purple tights, and a purple shirt.
It's giving Ruth Rose from A to Z Mysteries. She likes the dress all in one color.
Only description for George is a dress with 3 big buttons. That's it.
Like, that's how she picked it. She's like, I don't know, it's got cool stuff on it. It's got these 3 big buttons
on it.
I feel like the girls were interviewed. So Nancy's like, well, this is my favorite dress. And here's what it looks like. And Bess is like, well, here's what I picked out. And it's this and this and this and this and this. And George's like, I don't know, I have buttons.
They told me I had to wear a dress, so I chose the one that had buttons on it for me to play with.
Yeah, that's literally what I think. I'm like, this has fidgets on it. I'm hoping they're like ginormous, like gingerbread size level of buttons. Like, think about a gumdrop button compared to the rest of a gingerbread of like, that's too big to be.
That's exactly what I was imagining.
Okay, great. Me too.
Do you have any other fashion moments?
Oh, I have a little bit of the rainbow hair bows that we already mentioned.
Yes.
Not described in the text, but in the pictures. Rebecca has a very cool striped tight / leggings underskirt situation, which I thought was adorable. And then Laura at one point has an overalls dress over a stripy shirt. So a lot of layering of striped things under the bigger thing, which I felt very, very 90s.
That's exactly what I was going to say. All of the outfits illustrated and described just feel so 90s, which
so
I love because it's so childhood for me.
Yes. And then my only one that's described in the text that you haven't mentioned yet is when Hannah, helping Nancy get ready for the slumber party, she brushes Nancy's hair until it's shown. And I wrote, thankfully, not until it crackled, like the last time we were talking about Nancy brushing her hair. So something has gone wrong. She's like, all right, Hannah always brushed my hair a buttload. Great, got it. And it was
I'll do that too.
I'll do that too. And then in the whatever book we read where she was getting ready for a party, brush your hair till it crackled with electricity. Like, girl, don't do that. What's wrong with you?
That's the problem. If you zone out, you go past the shine phase into the crackle.
She's into a meditative state with the brush. She's like, oh, well.
She's, just meditating on all of her clues, zoned out in her mind palace, brushing her hair until sparks come out the ends.
Oh, no, it's not good. And then later in that one book, someone was staring at her and she's like, wow, it must mean this. I'm like, no, he thinks you look crazy.
Picture perfect.
So I did already state that I dislike this cover compared to the original covers. However, you look at the original cover from 1993 versus the 1999 cover, it's the exact same, like, what would you call it, like a tableau?
Yeah, because it's got Rebecca and Nancy.
No, that's
George?
Nancy and George. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone with dark hair says either Rebecca or George. Those are the dark-haired girls we know.
Those are the only two girls who were brave enough to go outside to check
that's what it was.
See.
Because the other boy is Jason, which I thought was a little on the nose because he is wearing a Jason Voorhees mask in this.
Oh.
Which is covered in blood, by the way, which is not necessarily what needs to happen. That's right. I looked up which movie monster have hockey mask, and it was like Jason. I was like, I freaking thought so. It's not creative. Do better, Jason.
I want to see what their outfits look like. Because the one thing I do like about the updated 1999 one, that's George, and I love her little dress.
Wait, that's so good.
And those are her buttons. It looks like it's a dress covered in buttons.
That's
with
so
3
cute.
Real ones on the middle.
Some decorative ones.
Yes.
That's so cute.
So I do like her little nice button dress. I hate Nancy's face.
It's not great.
No, but it does remind me very much of some of the updated Nancy Drew. It just looks like she has no expression.
Yeah.
And that.
It's not good. As I'm looking this up, I, typed in Nancy Drew Slumber Party Secret, and it popped up Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew Sleepover Sleuths. So the other, more modern little kid version of Nancy Drew, the first one's also about a sleepover. So I want to know, is it the same characters and they just updated it from 2010s?
Only time will tell us. I don't get a good version of the other one, but I just prefer the art style, I guess. That's just a me thing. I did love that the Nancy Drew notebooks kept with the tradition of Nancy Drew of having multiple in-text illustrations throughout the story.
Yes. There was one where Nancy was right up in Rebecca's face to interrogate her. Their feet are 4 feet apart, and Nancy is bent at the waist at a 45-degree angle to be up in Rebecca's face in a really awkward way.
Is that the first one?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
What are we doing? That's not how anyone's ever talked to anyone.
Like Rebecca is taking a little bit of a personal bubble step back.
This is
okay. A little too excited about the mystery, Nancy.
Now I suspect you.
The one that I chose was on page 13, which is the second one, which is where Jason is goofing around and being a third grade boy. The thing I liked most about this picture, George looks like she's just eating a bowl of dry macaroni noodles that are just loosely in the bowl.
That was in my miscellaneous mysteries of hey, why is George eating just loose elbow macaroni in the biggest bowl that's ever happened?
That's a cake tin. It's a cake tin full
Nancy
of
has
loose
either
macaroni.
a ceramic plate or a really flimsy paper plate that you wouldn't give a child.
Yes.
That's because it's got to be a thicker cardboard or a plastic tray.
Yes, but this is just a little thing. George's hair reminds me so much of my sister Katie's hair at this same time period because Katie has super curly hair. And in the 90s, we didn't do curly hair routines. You just brushed your hair. And so
until it crackled with electricity.
Well, and it looks like George also has maybe some bangs going on.
Yeah.
Which also is what my sister Katie had for a hot minute in this time period. But if you're a curly-haired human and you try and have bangs, it's really hard to get the bangs to lay straight unless you're, like, putting effort in. So mostly it's just like George kind of has extra short curls just kind of at the front. So I just love that because it reminds me of my sister and just what she looked like during that era. But really my favorite detail is in the background where it's like all the cafeteria food is, first of all, labeled. I applaud these cafeteria workers for individually labeling every food that they might give. But I just also love that you can't see any of the words fully because the characters are in the way, but they still wrote them out anyway. So instead of cashier, we just have sheer. Ha, el, reem, b, hatsu. And I don't know. I always get a kick out of like signs that are like missing a letter.
Yeah. My mom loved when the Speedway's S was burnt out.
Yeah. That's
like a Speedway.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite brands of jokes. Always guaranteed to get me to laugh. I just thought it was funny that they put so much effort into this little picture to label.
That's none of the lunch is the purpose of it. Not George's loose noodles, nor the sheer,
the bee, the hot soup.
None of that's part of it. It's about Jason bothering the girls.
Yes, but they put in so much effort.
That's very charming. I love that a lot. I just wrote, she's looking right at me with a big sad face.
I know exactly which picture.
This is the one where she's got her notebook.
Yes, it is a little bit. So it's page 33.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking in your digital copy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly. Yep, you're right.
And she is just.
I didn't like it. I don't want to be scrutinized. I am not a clue. I'm not part of this. Don't make me be. Yeah, there's a big sad face in my notes of like, why?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate that they're also like pen and paper style.
Yeah.
They're not the scribbly style that we see in the classic books, more almost like charcoal. I liked the addition of the pictures overall, though. I thought that they were pretty adorable.
And they added a lot of fashion to it that wasn't always described. I'm like looking at all these layers and the stripey and the overall dress and all this different hair accessories.
I really do think that within even the classic books, but especially these books, it reminds you of the era that you're in. You know, it feels so 90s.
Well, especially because I didn't live through the previous era we were reading about. I lived through this one.
Exactly. So it just all looks very familiar to me.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, charming.
Blast from the past.
I didn't have a ton for Blast from the Past. The first one I wanted to talk about was hopscotch, because every playground I feel like that I've ever been to has hopscotch. And the girls play hopscotch at recess in the book. I so rarely have seen children in the last 15 years play hopscotch.
I have never seen hopscotch played at recess. However, reliably, I have seen hopscotch played during a fire drill. Every fire drill, they walk over the hopscotch and go, now's the perfect time. As we're trying to quickly, quietly, in a organized line, get to our safety spots so that the office, who is being timed on their performance, will have a good score in fire drill. I think now's a good time for me to do hopscotch and therefore make the 30,000 children behind me also stop and do hopscotch.
Yes. Well, and that was also one of the things I was going to say. I don't see kids play hopscotch outside. I see them play hopscotch inside, because a lot of the schools I've been to, and I think even my former school, your still current school, aren't there some on the floor?
Yeah.
As a little movement break, that's where I see kids do hopscotch. I never see kids play hopscotch at recess. Like, I don't know if hopscotch fully goes into Blast from the Past, but hopscotch, it turns out, has existed in some form for always, based on the brief Wikipedia skim that I did. Yeah, like, the thing is, in the exact configuration that we in America associate.
It reminds me of how tic-tac-toe is like dots and crosses, and like, you know, Mancala has been around forever. And
yes,
hopscotch is like, that reminds me of like a royal game of Ur. which we made a 3-person version of for our little bubble during lockdown. My partner was looking up the Royal Game of Ur, which is, I think, the oldest known board game. And it's pretty simple. It reminds me of like Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a 2-person game, and we had a 3-person bubble. And so I was like, all right, I can craft a 3-player version, and we figured that out. And so it's folded up in our board game shelf, even though it's printer paper and Sharpie.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
The origin of hopscotch is still enigmatic.
Okay. Helpful.
So, despite speculation that an ancient form of hopscotch was played by Roman children and soldiers, there's no evidence for this. The first recorded references to the game in the English-speaking world date to the late 17th century, usually under the name Scotch hop or Scotch hoppers.
Why did we switch it?
I don't know. Hopscotch does sound better, I'm going to be honest. Scotch hop
sounds like a Scotch egg or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I did know this, but I feel like I never really played hopscotch this way. There's rules. The first player tosses a marker onto the court. The marker, typically a small stone, coin, beanbag, or small chain with a charm, should land in the square without bouncing, sliding, or rolling out. In the United States, the marker was called a lagger. Lagger? 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 And in the 1940s, hopscotch laggers made of rubber were sold by the Hoppy-Taw Company of Utah. Hoppy-Taw, Utah!
That's great. And also, why? This is like selling pet rock that didn't have eyes or anything.
Except it's rubber.
Except it's rubber, so it's worse because now it doesn't biodegrade. Oh my God.
The marker must be thrown in sequential numerical order completely within the square without touching the line. The player then hops through the course, skipping the marker's square. Single squares must be hopped on one foot except for the first single square where either foot may be used. Side-by-side squares are straddled with the left foot landing on the left square. Yes, we know this. Optional squares marked safe, home, or rest are neutral spaces and may be hopped through in any manner.
Safe, home, or rest?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know this.
After hopping into safe, home, or rest, the player must then turn around and retrace their steps through the course on one or two legs, depending on the square, until reaching the marker square. The player stops in the square before the marker and reaches down to retrieve the marker and continue the course as stated without touching a line or stepping into a square with another player's marker.
I do remember having to pick it up without falling over and then going back. Yeah.
Upon successfully completing the sequence, the player continues the turn by tossing the marker into square number 2 and repeating the pattern.
Yes.
If, while hopping through the court in either direction, the player steps on a line, misses a square, or loses balance, the turn ends. Players begin their turns where they last left off. The first player to complete one course for every numbered square on the court wins the game. Although the marker is most often picked up during the game, historically, in the boys' game, the marker was kicked sequentially back through the course on the return trip and then kicked out.
Yeah, that tracks. Hey, how can I integrate more kicking into this game? That's going to make it more manly. I do remember playing with these rules, but I also don't ever remember playing with a single other person. This was like a personal one-on-one game, or one game, not even one-on-one. This is like on my own time. All right, this is the rules. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sequentially get through it, and then the game's over. And it's only me involved.
I knew that there was some element of like tossing something into somewhere, but I didn't know that there were such formal rules. The only times I've ever done hopscotch or played it with kids, it has literally just been like hop, 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 two.
Yeah, that is the kind I was describing during the fire drill. We're just hopping through it.
Yeah, just doing the basic hop through it. And I don't know if just more exciting games were invented or people forgot to tell each other how, like, it just didn't get passed down. But that felt like a blast from the past.
I remember Foursquare being a huge thing in elementary school. And I feel like those two things are the same level of prep of you need one thing to bounce or throw. And then the rest is just squares that you can either do in chalk or sometimes they'll be just painted onto the playground. Mm-hmm. But you don't need a lot of prep. You need one thing and then people. And so I feel like Foursquare was huge and hopscotch was not.
What was one of your blasts from the past?
I got excited and I wrote down, oh my gosh, handwriting practice. That makes perfect sense. At the end of second grade, we learned about half the cursive letters. And then in third grade, we were supposed to learn the other. It wasn't sequential. It was like, you start with L and then E. But and then in third grade, we were supposed to learn the other half. And then we didn't because they discontinued it. So my grandma taught me with mimeograph worksheets she had leftover. And then I realized it was not about cursive because when she's collecting her handwriting samples, the way she does it is she writes a petition for these real big stretch goals. The only thing that this is for is to collect signatures so that every kid in the class will want to write their name. And it's our teachers should let us have 2 hours of free time a week, and we should be allowed to do at least one of our book reports on comic books. And we also need a dog for a class pet and not just some guy in a cage, or not guy, some rodent She's like, instead of just a caged class pet, we need a puppy. And so the kids are like, absolutely, I'm on board for all of these. Let's make some real change in this world. And all
Every
of them
third grader
the
signed the petition.
They make a copy for each of the third grade classes too. And someone says, what if they write in cursive on this? And they're like, only Phoebe's going to do this because somebody at home taught her. So there's only one kid that writes in cursive. I was like, oh, so the handwriting practice was literally just like, let's write letters. Because it talks about how Nancy is doing a fancy N and a fancy D, her initials. And she has a lot of fun doing that. So I thought we were doing cursive, but apparently we are just practicing writing letters, which does need to be done. But I do feel like that's usually a first grade thing more than a third grade thing. You have more blast from the past?
Yes, my last blast from the past is the tape player.
The reason that I thought it was the neighbor girl was for Means was she had come over to borrow Rebecca's tape player, but Rebecca wasn't home. So she was in her house, but whatever. It was the 90s. Pretend that was auto-tuned. So instead of borrowing her tape player, she stole the invites and several rainbow hair clips, I guess. But I like that. Not only are we talking about tape players, but I don't have my own, so I'm just going to go to my neighbor's house and borrow theirs and just walk in even if they're not home.
Yeah, that's so different from so many angles.
Oh, yes.
I don't know any of my neighbors. I know you know some of your neighbors, but I don't know any of my neighbors. If I needed to go borrow something, I died.
I literally I felt like it was in a cartoon, but modern, because one of my neighbors sent out a group text of hey, I'm elbows deep in this bread dough and I realized I don't have parchment paper. Anybody got some? And I had just got some, but obviously not for cooking. It was for shrinky dinks because that's the reason I purchase things.
Of who you are as a
craft.
person.
Yeah. I mean, bread is a good reason, but nah, it was for shrinky dinks. And so I was like, yes, I have some. Also, I'm not home. So I am assigning my partner to give you this. Turned out, partner also not home. So I was just yeah, I have parchment paper. Would be nice if you could have some, huh?
It'd be nice if you could have some. Oh, well.
Yeah. But if I had, left my door unlocked so she could just get in, it would have been helpful, I guess. And then also not helpful.
She could have stolen your invites to your birthday party.
And all my rainbow hair clips. I'm always
and all
those.
Your rainbow hair clips. But I also wrote down the tape player, as well as they put a tape into the tape player. So I assume it's like a VHS tape because they watch a scary
tape
movie.
Player.
No, so I don't know if there's two different tape players because it really does. It would be crazy to come and borrow the VCR.
That's wild, yeah.
That's insane behavior. She can't come borrow the VCR.
That also is treated yes, I often loan her this or we share it or whatever. But
yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't take the VCR from the setup because that's already on the TV table or whatever.
And it's all put through the back of the TV.
Oh yeah, all the wires and everything.
That all the dads drilled a hole through.
Sometimes they come with a hole, but usually they're drilled.
My dad's like, no, I want the hole here. Make a hole there.
See?
That's what a lot of our furniture. My dad's like, no, this isn't how I want it. He makes it be the way he wants it.
And that's what drills.
He's actually quite good at it. It feels like there's two different types of tape players going on because there's the one that they're watching the movie on, and then there's the one that Laura wanted to borrow.
Yeah, blast from the past.
Blast from the past.
I like that there's not as much research, but there's more personal life research.
It is and it's a blast from the past for us, too.
Yeah, really.
Which is nice.
Teacher feature.
I do just kind of want to look at these from the perspective of we have been educators and we are in education. And the last time I read these, I was much closer to Nancy's age and was not looking at how their school is run and whether it's realistic or not. And I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at that.
Yes, I agree. And I have something right off the bat I want to talk about.
Yeah, go nuts.
Why is Nancy able to get into her classroom during lunch?
Yeah, it's not great. It's good for snooping. I guess I don't lock the door every single time I leave it because sometimes it's just to make one copy and then I head back.
No, but also our kids, they're not able to just get up and leave the cafeteria.
Well, but if you say, I need to use the restroom, it's an emergency.
That's true.
The bathroom's around the corner. I don't have eyes on them. So they shouldn't be able to. But
well, at least along that line then.
Because she did seem surprised.
Yeah, her teacher's like, what are you doing in here? She's like, And she's like, okay, well, it's about to be class time. Go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, she makes up a reason for her, basically, because Nancy is snooping to see if anybody has the green pen that's been writing these, mysterious notes, because the handwriting thing didn't work out. But the teacher is like, what are you doing here? And Nancy's like, I don't want to say, in her head. And then the teacher gives her a reason. She's like, oh, yeah, I heard you had a petition to show me. And she's like, yeah, wasn't actually going to show you that. kind of a joke, but sure. Teacher reads it. Nancy genuinely is not sure if she's like going to be mad or laugh, and she like can't tell. And she's like, yeah, I also like dogs, but you understand why that can't be our class pet, right? I applaud your civic initiative, but this is not going to work out. She goes, yeah, haha, it was just a joke, which it wasn't. It was a sleuthing technique that she developed. But yeah, the teacher like gives her an excuse to be in her room. Like, no, you shouldn't be here. Clearly, the teacher also wasn't there. It's like the teacher was eating lunch in there. She was probably in the lounge or like on duty or something. And so Nancy's just unattended in the room with everyone's stuff. No wonder all this stuff's getting stolen.
For real. And I was just surprised how little adult supervision there seemed to be.
I agree. Well, especially with a whole cupcake getting stolen. So when this said cubbies, I thought this is like off to the side of the classroom. Your coat goes there, your backpack goes there, whatever. But it's not huge. It's big enough for like 24 cupcakes, first of all, which I'm thinking of containers for that. And then I'm thinking of like the place I would give a child to store their coat and stuff. And they do not mesh for me. But then apparently, I don't know if they're around the corner or in the hallway or what, but like the teacher does not have eyes on a child eating an entire cupcake, a child that should not be in her room because it's from the room down the hall, eating a cupcake out of someone's cubby. So like, where are all the belongings?
So
like, I know you can't have eyes on everything at all times, but like what?
I'm pretty sure they're out in the hallway, almost like lockers. One of the schools that I worked at in Colorado had that is like all the kids' backpacks and coats got hung up outside in the hallway, which
just
was
for like space saving in the classroom.
Exactly. I taught kindergarten those years. So like,
gosh,
so much just coats and things always falling off. But I can definitely imagine a setup where, and I feel like I've substitute taught at a school.
Incredible.
Theirs is a newer building, but they have all of the kids' coats, hats, backpacks, storage out in the hallway.
There's going to be days when there's like just backpack, and there's going to be days where it's like, I need a full parka.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
several accoutrements, and then the gloves are going to get lost and blah, 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 blah.
But why are there no consequences to somebody eating a cupcake?
Yes.
Why
yeah, he like plays it off like a joke. And I remember this being a part of a lot of books I was reading growing up where the girls are like, oh my God, this one boy gets away with everything and the teachers think he's hilarious. And I'm like, that was in multiple book series. And that's happening with this punk Jason.
Yeah, he like makes the teachers laugh and they're like, aha, Jason, and they like walk away.
Now, should the parent have maybe provided one extra cupcake because things happen and your child carried these cupcakes to school as she walked to school? Maybe. But also, yeah, there's no consequence that we see.
And why did the teacher, I mean, I know Nancy's teacher is Miss Spencer. And I just feel like if we're going to read more of these are the two third grade classes.
Yes.
It's Miss Spencer and, hold on, let me see if I can.
Oh, I wrote down the other one. That's another question I have. It's Mrs. Apple, and I wanted to know why this teacher is in witness protection. Mrs. Apple is not a real name.
That is not a real
Apple
name.
is a thing that we looked around the school and we said, I need a new name so the kids don't know my name. Mrs. Apple.
Apple.
Yep. Desk. I don't know. First name, chalkboard.
Chalkboard Apple. Best teacher in the land.
I have several awards. Do not look me up on the white
So this
pages
is Mrs.
pages.
Apple. Then why did she allow cupcakes to get passed out and not enough for everyone?
That's true, because I also was assuming that there was one for the birthday girl and or the teacher, and that one could be spare.
For real. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking too. I'm
thinking about like Valentine's. We always have like a couple extra, whatever. Yeah, this was not great. This is also kind of a blast from the past as well, because nowadays we do not do food birthday treats because there's we need to be careful of allergens and stuff.
Yes,
especially
it is true. But it just really feels like the teachers, both of them, like their lack of attention and consequences, attention in general to this, really fueled the hurt feelings that led to this. Because that's really
it was not the reason. But it didn't help, and it made things worse.
It definitely made things worse. There's all sorts of these, like, I'm having a hard time coming up with words today.
Are you talking about the interactions that the girls had where, there were some hurt feelings? Because it talked about, I think it was Lindsay from the school, like to eavesdrop, but then would hear things that hurt her feelings or something like that.
Yes.
And so it feels like maybe we need some more social lessons. And I understand there's not time in the day for every single social lesson children need.
And that's what I was going to say. Having been a teacher, can you micromanage your entire class 100% of the time? Absolutely not.
But if you see that this is a huge issue that's coming up at lunch, maybe you don't have lunch duty, but like it's coming up at lunch. There's a schism at recess. Some of the girls are over here and some of the girls are over here. And like they usually all play together. And it's like, you don't have to micromanage this. But you see that this one thing where the girl is loudly saying, don't tell anyone about my party. Of like, I think you would notice, especially in a self-contained, it looks like they're self-contained classrooms. You're not like switching between multiple different homerooms throughout the day. Like you kind of understand the vibes of what's going on in your room and who the
Yes.
instigators are and what's happening socially and who's not paying attention to how the things they're saying are really hurting other people's feelings because either they're not developmentally there yet or they just don't care.
Part of being an elementary school teacher is helping guide those conversations and problem solve. And I really do think you said this schism at recess is, oh gosh, I was just having flashbacks to the number of times that it's such a warning, such a like whoop, whoop, whoop. And you're like, uh-oh, I gotta go over there right now. Something.
Yep. And it's like, you don't even hear what's being discussed, but you can kind of see the lines have been drawn in a different way than they have been for the past several weeks. And you're like, uh-oh, I'm gonna go get closer to this group and see what's
going
on.
And like, based on what Nancy said, you've got one group, which is the girls who are going to the slumber party, who are all like excited and then you've got these the group of girls who are not invited, who are
standing
hostile,
around talking and like
plotting.
And like
they clearly have these hurt feelings, and I'm just surprised that no adults.
But also, maybe their teacher is not on their recess duty. However,
correct, but I don't know. Usually, you do have the same. I'd think about like group, recess duty at our school. There were teachers who had the same groups
every day.
Yes, and so you do start to know. These kids always play together. These kids always play together. And then
if these two are together, they shouldn't be.
Exactly. Or, interesting. I've never seen those two kids play together. And then you see a third kid off to the side crying and you're like, aha, something happened over here. Let's go check this out. Like,
yeah. Yeah. It's not necessarily the teacher's job, but it is a component of it. And I'm disappointed in Miss Spencer and Mrs. Apple or whatever her name is.
Also, this is just teacher brain. And, also I began teaching in 2015, and this was published in 94? 94.
Because I was also published in 94.
Yes, you were. So anyway, coming from teacher brain, this is a slight, 94 to 2015 is almost 20 full years. So things might have changed. Nancy's working on her math, and she's just working on like 111 plus 32. And I taught third grade math. Mm-hmm. Third grade, which, I mean, maybe this is a warm-up problem. Maybe this is early in the year where we're reviewing. But third grade is when I was teaching regrouping and multiplication.
Well, she's challenging herself, though, because she's doing it in her head instead of doing it on paper. So she's like differentiating for herself, which is cute, which is not what the kids have to do.
But yeah, I was just surprised when I saw the number. I was like, oh, I see that there's math on I bet it's going to be regrouping because it's third grade. And it wasn't. And honestly, I'm pretty sure I was teaching regrouping when I taught second grade too. But again, it was the 90s. So maybe things were a little easier in third grade. I don't really remember. I remember my teacher. Yeah. And I remember taking the state tests. That's it.
Yeah. Did you notice what the school is called?
I did not. Tell me.
It is called Carl Sandburg Elementary. It's named after a guy who won 3 Pulitzer Prizes in like writing. He was a biographer and like a journalist and a poet and a folklorist. And he like did a bunch of political activism as a socialist. And he did a bunch of research to do a good biography of Abraham Lincoln. And he did a bunch of poetry to capture like the lives of working class Americans. Like this is a pretty liberal guy to name your elementary school after. I feel like it's usually, here's some guy from the Confederacy.
That's really cool. I definitely did not notice that.
Yeah, he left school at 13 so that's, elementary is middle school is about as far as he got. And he worked as a shoe shiner and a milkman at a farmhand. And then he got his way to 3 Pulitzer Prizes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a thing I looked up today because I was like, who is this guy? I don't know him. I know I've heard the name, but what is he? A cool guy. I also, this isn't really education necessarily, but I was like, oh, the 8-year-olds are allowed to walk a few blocks to school for the first time like this year. That's I think it is near the beginning of the school year because they said it's just been doing it for a few weeks.
Drew's Clues.
I have a lot of Drew's Clues. How about you?
I have some Drew's Clues too. My first one. Nancy Drew does not break promises. When Rebecca is like, oh, I just need help solving this, Nancy's like, listen, I promised you I would, so I'm going to. She's like, really? Yeah. She's like, yes, I don't break promises.
And we see that strong moral code starting really early. I like that she is, I think, humble because Rebecca thinks that no one will come to the party because the invites are lost. To be clear, it's also Wednesday and the party's Friday, so I don't know what we thought was going to happen even if we had the invites on Wednesday, because they were going to mail them. And also the mom was going to mail them with these rainbow ribbon hair clips in them. And that's not how envelope work. Are these like padded bubble mailers?
Yeah, right.
That are being sent out laboriously. Like, it feels unnecessary, especially since it's all your, like, I get that the mail could have prevented some of the social strife at school, maybe, although I do feel like Rebecca would have run her mouth about it anyway. But it does feel like if you're only inviting your classmates and there's a 3-dimensional component to the invitation, we could just bring them to school.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. But anyway, so Rebecca's like, no one's going to come. It's going to be so sad. And Nancy goes, well, I'll come to your party. And then she put her hand over her mouth. Oops, I mean, if I'm invited.
Like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to assume. I'm sorry.
Well, your party's not going to be terrible. Like, I'll come and have a good time. Oh, wait, I don't want to. Yeah. It's very cute.
So my next one is a little bit more, I don't want to say negative.
Uh-huh.
But Rebecca is talking about how much she doesn't like hanging out with Laura. Long story short, Nancy listens and in her head thinks about how she thinks Laura's actually pretty great, but doesn't say anything. As Rebecca is kind of bad-mouthing Laura. And I don't completely fault Nancy on this. Because, like, I've been there.
Well, especially at that age, it's hard to stand up for that against someone who's got a very strong opinion, especially socially.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. Sometimes I find this as an adult, when I know someone has a strong opinion, I don't feel like debating it with them. I disagree, but I'm like, all right, you do you. So I don't completely judge Nancy for this. However, I do feel like future Nancy, like, because this is supposed to, I think, barring the time frames that these are in, I feel like there's supposed to be some element of continuity to an extent. But I do feel like Nancy of the classic books might not say something directly, but she would make a comment that would
not necessarily put the person in their place, but make it clear that Nancy doesn't quite agree and maybe the other person should think about what they've said.
Exactly. A little bit more tactful, I guess.
Sure.
I know we've described her as tactless before.
But that's not all the time. That's usually mostly in the games, or if she's like really, really focused on the mystery. But in a conversation.
Or a regular social situation.
Yeah, just a social situation. It feels like she's more tactful of like, oh, really? I didn't find that
I never noticed that.
Right. Just like a more casual way to not even correct, but just bring up her own opinion.
Doesn't like pull other people down. But I was just a little disappointed. I think
maybe she'll get there with time.
Definitely. She's only 8, and everyone is still learning, and it sounds like she's also trying to keep the peace.
Yeah, of like,
to an extent.
Well, Rebecca's very upset right now, so
she's very dramatic. We all know
she's very
this.
dramatic, and she doesn't say that out loud to her either. So, I do think that the confidence shines through. She's because Rebecca's like, I can't find them. I looked everywhere. And Nancy's like, I didn't look yet, though. Let me look.
Yeah.
I know you looked, but let me look. Because I'm very good at finding things. I find my dad's keys all the time. Where's Carson? I hope Carson is like hiding things for Nancy to kind of like seed that and be like, well, I like mysteries. Do you think she'll like mysteries? I'll make it a game. Oh, I need your help. And like, I hope that's what Did you notice that George is like instantly on the boys' side of the entire dispute? Not at the end, but at the beginning. She's like, no, their party sounds great. I also want to engage in the water wars. And my strategy to, ingratiate myself with the boys' slumber party is I will sacrifice Bess.
Yes.
They need a sacrifice. I will sacrifice a local cousin, someone with long blonde hair. Like, okay, great.
I also just because they were explaining like, oh my gosh, the boys are going to have a birthday party too. And she's like, so? And she's like, literally. Did you hear? They're getting water guns. And she's like,
that sounds sick.
Yeah, like, what? Like,
that A shouldn't affect us, and B sounds great.
Exactly.
No problem here.
I love
that.
It
does end up affecting them. They bring the water guns over and they squirt the girls, but like, also it's fine. They don't even squirt the cake. They just like make it rain on the girls a little bit, and the girls literally thought it was raindrops. And
literally thought it was raining. Yes.
I love that Hannah and Nancy have a great relationship.
Yes.
And
honestly, it feels pretty accurate to the classic books.
Yeah, they like help out. They're it's like, so she's like a mother to her, like it says that outright. And Nancy's excited about the slumber party. She's kind of explaining the situation to Hannah, and she's like, you have to ask your father. She goes, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Do you think, what if he says no? And I already told Rebecca I'd go. And Hannah's like, oh, you have to ask him, but like he's never said no to you in his life. He never can. I'm like, okay, incredible. I love this. Hannah's already like, no. You've got him wrapped around your finger. You do just have to go through the motions of asking. It's very cute.
I love it.
Also, Carson was adorable.
I was literally about to talk about Carson. It's easier to put the adult characters and have them feel accurate, but I felt like Carson's just so sweet. I love him.
Yes. And if Carson and Hannah already have paternal and maternal feelings toward Nancy in the books where they're all adults, I don't think it's going to get less so when she's a child.
Exactly. But it was just, he is such a good dad to her. He's always joking around with her and being so silly.
I wrote down my favorite joke because she's asking about the slumber party. He goes, "You want to go to a party just to sleep? It sounds pretty boring. I'm falling asleep just hearing about it." And then starts snoring. And she's like, "Dad!"
So cute.
Because it's her first slumber party. So it's kind of a big milestone. He's like, "I don't know. That sounds pretty boring." It's really cute.
It was
peak dad joke.
Yeah, very dad joke. Very dad joke. And just, you really can feel how happy, even though, Nancy's mom passed away, that her home life is really positive.
Yeah,
she has
good.
2 adults who care about her so much.
And support each other and know the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 about this. She is a little scared of the scary movie, but she tries to tough it out and watch it with everybody else, which kind of feels true to her character in the books we've read so far. She's scared. She's going to make it known that she's not loving the situation, but she does still come along, right?
She doesn't want to be left out. FOMO is too much.
Oh, my gosh. Or she's like, "Oh, don't leave me alone. There's a scary guy out here." Both are true. And so they're like, "Yeah, you got to watch it and you got to scream because we'll all be scared." And so then she screams and they're like, "Not right now, silly." And the movie happens. She's like, "No, there's a guy outside or something."
It was, yeah.
It was a very cute moment. And then also when they are going on the little scavenger hunt set up around the yard as part of the birthday party, they get separated into teams. And Beth's like, "Well, that's not fair. I'm never going to find it if I'm not in Nancy's team. She's so good at finding stuff." Bess, you can also be good at stuff. But I love that that's well, dang, they've got the detective on their team, but she's not a detective yet.
She's just a good finder.
At the end of the book, she says, "This was so fun. It was just like being a detective," which was very charming.
Yes, so cute.
I have one more, and I don't know if it counts as a Drew's Clues, but I just really liked her friend supporting her because Nancy asked a couple things to Rebecca's mom, to try to find the invitations or figure out what happened to them. And the mom's like, "Ugh, you asked too many questions, Nancy." And Rebecca's like, "No, she doesn't. She asked just the right amount." And I was like, "That's so cute. Thank you for defending her."
No, I loved that. That was
it was really nice. Of no, she's not being weird or nosy. She's trying to help, and she's doing a good job. I don't know. It was really cute.
This book was very simple, but it was very cute.
Yes, and I liked seeing the characters I knew. Although I looked up, is Rebecca Ramirez someone we should know? Because I kind of remember Deirdre, who I know is definitely in the games. I think she's in a lot of the 80s books probably, but at least I think she's in some of the classic books. But I know she's in Nancy Drew notebooks because she's kind of the bratty classmate. So I don't know if she moves in or if I say I know. I'm suddenly second guessing myself. I'm 87% sure that Deirdre's in some of these ones.
We are approaching the maximum knowledge that 4th and 5th grade Meghan had of the Nancy Drew series.
That's
quite
fair.
Quickly.
Sleuthing skills.
So in this segment, we give you some skills to work on so that you can also become your own girl detective.
Even if you're only in 3rd grade and even if you're not a girl. We can all be girl detectives.
We have been introduced to the most important item that you need to become a detective, which is a cute notebook. A cute notebook that is your favorite color.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be blue, but it can
Nancy's
be
favorite
blue.
color is blue, like her convertible.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Please tell me how she gets her notebook, because that's what this book series is named after. I remember distinctly that she'll write down the clues she gets or her thoughts or draw pizza math or whatever.
Well, so she was talking about how she has this mystery to solve, and she goes to her dad, and she's like, "I need some help." And he's like, "I know just what you need." And I feel like he's been waiting for the perfect moment.
He didn't go to the store to get this, to be clear.
No, he had it already. He's been waiting.
Open the desk drawer.
Yes, open the desk drawer and picks out the cutest, bluest, perfect notebook for little Nancy Drew.
In his daughter's favorite color, a little spirally notebook.
Yes, so adorable.
It's here's what you need. You're going to have to write down all the things that seem important, all your clues. It was so stinking cute.
What's one of your sleuthing skills?
Well, I was going to say, in the very first chapter, I think, we talk about how you need to start by asking questions. Nancy has never solved a mystery before, but she's like, I think this is where I need to start. It's just
And she's right.
And she's right.
Yep.
And she looked around first, and she didn't assume that a crime had happened. She's like, I know she said she looked for it, but what if it got thrown away by accident? What if your brother thought it was, let's not assume bad intentions, which I think is cool.
Which very much reminds me of Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase, where Helen's like, the house is haunted. And she's like, all right, could it be some other things, though, first? Which, to be fair, Rebecca is correct. Her invitations were, in fact, stolen.
Yes. But
it is correct to say, all right, let's look at the whole picture first. Could you have thrown it away? And Rebecca's like, yes, I might have. Probably not, but maybe?
I guess it's technically true. And she looks around the counter they're on. She goes, well, there's not a trash can nearby where it's like, oh, this could easily have slid intact. Mm-hmm. She is being very aware of the surroundings. Anyway, I think Nancy has a pretty good understanding of the social structures of, like, her grade level. Like, she knows, the boys are here. Like, these people used to be friends, but they're not really anymore. Rebecca says I'm her best friend, but she's just being dramatic because she likes acting. Her best friend is actually Jessie Shapiro, and she knows this person likes to eavesdrop, but then she always ends up, like, hurting her own feelings with what she hears. And Rebecca won't talk quietly, so I don't know why she told me to keep this secret, because she's being kind of a loudmouth about this thing.
She is very aware. And so you, as a sleuth, must also be aware of the social structures around you.
Exactly. You must be able to figure out people's handwriting and trace a mysterious note back to who could have written it based on supplies of paper, which that didn't help because it was the same paper everyone uses in their grade as head, based on perhaps pen color, if there's a unique color of ink, based on the handwriting itself. You must have a lot of ways, a lot of strategies to find that out, because 2 of them are dead ends,
Definitely. And you can't get discouraged by any dead ends.
Correct. And you must also be able to do pizza math.
I knew I was forgetting something. The pizza math.
We talked about it in Cooking Corner a little bit, but it's so good. It's such an important skill for every sleuth.
And also just being able to note it's the attention to detail.
Yes, when I see pizza being delivered to my neighbor, I don't think that's the clue I need to track this whole thing wide open. I just think, oh, they're getting pizza. She's like, that was too much pizza.
That's too much pizza for 4 people.
Yeah.
And she's right. It is.
I would have been like, wow, pizza.
You got to be paying attention to the details around you.
Exactly.
Miscellaneous mysteries.
I think we've covered most of my miscellaneous mysteries, such as the chapter titles. Why did they remind me of Sweeney Todd?
My miscellaneous mystery was, I did not know, and is this the first time that we find out that George is short for Georgia?
I thought it was mentioned in the regular books. Was it not?
I don't know if it was.
Interesting, because it's just an inherent part of her to me. And so I don't actually know where I learned that. Because I remember in the regular books, they're like, she likes her boy name, but it does it not go into detail? Oh my gosh, wait. How do we find that out? Are you researching?
I am.
It's like the sound of silence is either something has fallen over and the mic's not working, or she's furiously researching.
Like on the Nancy Drew fandom wiki, they don't seem to cover the Nancy Drew notebooks, or at least for the George.
Oh, I got it. Wikipedia, baby.
Yeah, of course. I should have just gone with what I know.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, maybe there will be more or better.
Georgia, quote, George Fane is a character in the popular Nancy Drew Mystery Stories series. She is one of Nancy's best friends and cousin of Bess Marvin. Her birth name is Georgia, although no one calls her that except her parents. This is a change made in the 1980s. One volume, this 1960 Clue in the Old Stagecoach, mentioned her real name as Georgia on the title page, but this is altered after the first few printings. In the original novels, her name was simply George, named for her grandfather. Sometimes people just call her Fane. That's cool.
So it does sound like
she was just George. And then they made it Georgia. Because, in the games they don't say George, which is short for Georgia because she's just your phone contact. You don't need to know her lore.
Yeah.
I internalized that as fact from all series. I think because I was reading them kind of all at the same time interchangeably.
Yes. But I was just
Dang.
Just because I've been paying attention this time around, I have not seen it listed as it's George, short for Georgiana, Georgia.
Right.
It's just George. And
that's very, very cool. In the original series, George is a somewhat forward girl and often less than proper in her demeanor and mannerisms.
To say the least.
To say the least. Also, apparently, her elder brother is Sebastian Fane, spelled in a way I've never seen. Has an E-N instead of an A-N. Sebastian, S-E-B-A-S. Sebastian Fane. Her mother is named Mrs. Fane. Hope this helps.
I feel like there's so many characters with
that
the
are just
name
Mrs. What a weird occupation, student. Excellent.
So that's my only miscellaneous mystery was George's Georgia?
Yeah. Sorry, I've got one more thing. I won't tell you what book because I accidentally got a little spoiled. But it's like showing that even George can be intimidated. Blank shows this is not the Nancy Drew notebooks, this is the original, but shows a psychologically battered George. Oh no!
Oh no!
So don't look forward to that. Not from the notebooks, but I have one more miscellaneous mystery. Why do you have 7 pillows on your bed, Nancy?
That's so many pillows. It's too many.
So I count. I was like, surely, because also the rest of the room's kind of in a shambles of like, listen, she's 8, she's got a lot going on. There's like stuff all over her desk. There's like picture frames. There's all kinds of stuff, and then her bed is perfectly made with 7 pillows. Why 7?
And this is in one of the pictures. This is not text evidence. This is picture evidence.
This is true. I guess that's true. It could be someone's wife read this book to the artist, like we learned in the history. Like the Nancy Drew notebook was too much to read.
Bed. Put so many pillows.
At least 7, if not more.
Gumshoe Game Show.
All right. I've got a slightly easier than the last couple, and I think that's fitting because it's a children's book game show for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I want to win the rainbow hair clip.
Perfect. It sounds
Which they all did. I don't know if we ever said this at any point during the recording. In the end, the girl who stole the invitations returns them, so all the girls get their invitations while at the slumber party. The girl who stole the rose off of the cake apologizes. And then they just get invited to the party. Even though Rebecca's mom was like, you can only invite 8 friends. She's like, let's do 3 more. Who cares?
Because it caused so many issues, I guess. But then also they were already having their own party. They had already kind of solved it. And then, they pass out the invites at the party, which is hilarious. But it's for the hair clips. But then it's like there's still only 8 hair clips. What? Okay, great. Yeah. It was a mostly good solution, but
just a lot of lessons in fairness, I feel like, in this one.
Yes.
Anyway.
So the theme of this game show, which is 5 questions, it was inspired by one specific quote from this book. Here's the passage it's based on. There were only 7 words on the page. 7 creepy words. The message gave Nancy a chill. It said, you'll be sorry. Your party is doomed. So these are questions about some creepy words and their origins.
Okay.
So according to Edom Online and for some reason the Final Fantasy Wiki, the word vile is a word from around 1300 and was originally defined as what one-word musical title? A. Bear, B-A-R-E. B. Wicked. C. Big. Or D. Cats.
Wait, so I'm confused by the question. So the word vile...
Which of these musicals is the original 1300 definition of vile? Sorry.
Okay, so vile's original definition is also the name of one of these musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me them again.
A. Bear. B. Wicked. C. Big. Or D. Cats.
I feel like we're talking original definition. So I feel like it is not wicked because I feel like vile currently means something akin to wicked. So I am going to eliminate wicked. So I have bear, B-A-R-E, not the animal, but like...
Correct.
Nakey.
Yes, Nakey the musical. You got it. Holy crap.
Bear, big, or wicked?
I will say it hasn't changed as much through the years as you might think.
So I might have eliminated a word that I don't want to eliminate?
You might have.
Then I'm going to go with wicked.
I think that is the right call. Yes, it is wicked.
Okay.
Another creepy word from this, I literally just looked up a list of creepy words.
Love it.
And one of them is phantom. This is also from around 1300. Fun fact, it was initially phantom, F-A-N-T-U-M. And it refers to uncertainty or an illusion. It only came to mean a specter or a ghost like quite a few years later.
Okay.
So, this question's about Phantom, specifically the one of the opera.
Yes! Okay.
Which of these is not a known alias of the Phantom of the Opera, according to potofandom.com? A. Eric Dessler, Destler. B. Erique, Erique. C. Opera Ghost. Or D. Professor Dessler.
Okay, I know his actual name is Eric. It's in Phantom of the Opera. I think that's in this closet with me right now.
Oh my God.
I know his name is Eric, but I don't remember, but it's also French. Opera Ghost is correct.
Opera Ghost. This is both side OG.
I'm going between B and D right now.
Okay. B being Eric and D being Professor Dessler.
I'm going to go with B.
Unfortunately,
no!
He is not Professor Dessler. He is sometimes known as Professor Petrie, which is fascinating because his name is Eric Dessler. So I don't know what's going on there. He is a professor, but not a Dessler, which is unfortunate because that kind of rhymes.
Oh, I was so excited for the Phantom of the Opera question, too. Okay, keep going.
Don't not get excited. There might be more.
Oh, boy.
Okay. As I'm reading this, I'm sorry. I think I wanted to share fun facts because I was looking up these evil words. And then I was like, well, what I can ask about this is what year is it from? 1300 or 1400? And that wasn't as
No, that's
fun.
much more. No.
So this is a setup that's themed and then a different question about a musical. So I'm sorry.
I love it.
Okay, great, cool. Sorry.
No, I love your quizzes.
Yay. They are confusingly written. Malevolent is another creepy word from my list of creepy words. It comes from around 1500, meaning having an evil disposition toward another. Kind of like the opposite of that one song.
Benevolent.
Yeah, benevolent. I was thinking Sweet Disposition by the Temper Trap, but Yeah. Which musical was initially planned to have every song title contain either the word good, the word bad, or a synonym for them? Was it A, Bad Girls, based on the TV series Bad Girls? Was it B, Wicked, based on the novel Wicked? Was it C, Good Vibrations, based on The Beach Boys, because it's a jukebox musical? Or was it D, Anything Goes, which is based on the producer who was living on a boat when he wrote it to avoid his creditors?
Okay, I know I've already chosen Wicked as one of the answers, but I do think it's Wicked because
Talk me through
there's already songs like Something Bad and For Good, and No One Mourns the Wicked, all that. I know that The Wizard and I had a previous version called Making Good or Make Good.
Interesting.
And that's where that so I'll make good was the beginning, because my BFF Sarah has one of the demo recordings and with, I think it's Stephanie J. Block.
It is Stephanie J. Block. Yes, I listened to that song today.
Yes. Okay. So that's why I am going to go with Wicked.
Yes, correct. Yes. I know it's rude to have two be Wicked in a row. However, it's about evil words. So, I get to do what I want. And so Making Good used to be, that was our intro to Alphabet. That was her first solo song. I think this first song where she sings in the show, because she doesn't sing during, the retrospection or Dear Old Shiz, because that's about Glinda and everybody else. And so that was initially her song. And then they're like, it'd be strong if we did Wizard and I. Very good. You're 2 for 3. You are doing a wicked good job. Number 4, returning to Phantom.
Okay.
Though the word itself dates back to around 1300, it only became defined as something having the form but not the substance of a real thing in 1707. Which of these is not the real thing of the Phantom of the Opera's known aliases?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I got on this page and there's 9 names.
Okay.
So we have, which one of them
Part
is
2.
not? Part 2. I was like, don't not get excited because I have more of this exact question. I'm sorry. Okay. A, the one below. B, the angel of music. C, the trapdoor lover. Or D, Eric Claudine.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? I'm sorry.
I'm going to go with the trapdoor lover.
No!
No!
Why
Okay.
is that one real?
My second one is gonna be the one below.
Yeah, that one's not real. Trapdoor Lover is all hyphenated and capitalized. I'm like, that we can't call him that. That feels inappropriate at best. I need to tell you my other favorite one because at some point I was listening to Phantom of the Opera on a road trip, as is my want. Well, I usually shuffle my entire musicals playlist, but I think growing up on road trips, we had a couple of musical CDs, and it was like Jesus Christ Superstar, Little Shop of Horrors, Phantom of the Opera. We will listen to them front to back as a family, and it was so great.
It's the whole story, so you might
exactly,
as well.
It's the whole story, so it's literally fine. But I like to shuffle them, and then it'll be like, oh, we could do with a little illumination. Gentlemen, the issue on the table. Secretary Hamilton. Because it like leaves or it stops that track at a certain time. It's great. Or like, oh, can you believe it? The Reynolds pamphlet. And then it's like, Little Shop. Whatever. Anyway, so this is all to say, at some point we're listening to some Phantom song, and my beloved spouse goes, how many names does he have? Oh, it's me, the angel of music. I'm the opera ghost. I'm the Phantom. And he just started making up a bunch of random names, and then he goes, the Ghoul of Plays. It's me, the Ghoul of Plays. And that is stuck. That has lived in my mind rent-free for years.
Forever.
I don't even know if it was years ago, but it feels like years. And I want to cross stitches so bad, but I have so many cross stitches in my queue.
Just add it to the queue.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Final question.
All right.
If you can do it without the choices, that is a bonus. And then there's 2 answers. And if you get both of them, that could be a bonus.
Okay, so currently I'm
2 for 4.
2 for 4. Goodness gracious. Okay.
You just need to get 1 from this.
Okay.
And that's a majority. The word ghastly stems from the 1300 Gastlich, Gastlich. Kind of reminds me of lich as well, because that's right in there. It means inspiring fear or terror or hideous or shocking. They only started spelling it with a GH in the 16th century because it got confused with the word ghost. So they weren't supposed to be the same thing, and then they became the same thing. Breaking from our musicals theme, what types is the Pokemon Ghastly, which does not have an H?
Oh, okay. Ghastly is a ghost type.
Correct. So you have already won. Think about the color that it is. I think that will help.
I know. Dark type. Right?
So close.
Is dark a
Dark is a type, but it is not. Do you want to?
Am I allowed to see the types? Pokemon types?
Go look up a list of types as long as you don't look up Ghastly.
I won't look up Ghastly.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Because it's hard to know. They add a lot of types.
They do. There's so many types.
Well, especially knowing that some of those dragon-shaped guys are not a dragon type. I'm like, oh, well, what are we even doing here?
Well, and okay, no, of course I searched this, and it's like, okay, also this is in a different language. That is why these are unrecognizable to me. Ghastly is ghost and poison?
Correct.
Okay, I was like purple.
Like, yeah.
Honestly, I was going to say poison before I looked up the chart.
That's fair.
Like, where is even poison on here? Oh, it's green on here.
Oh, incredible.
But I think after looking at all of them, I still
ones as purple.
I do too.
Mostly because they are purple. Yeah. Excellent. So you have won describe the hair clip for me. It's rainbow, but like, is it like it's got ribbons coming off of it, or what's happening here?
So I think it's a lot like the one that I have.
Out of video.
Actually, I have like a bunch of them. They came in a pack that my mom gave me. It's a long barrette, and it's got 3 rainbow flowers in a row. And each of the flowers is a hair clip as well. So there's really 4 hair clips in one hair clip, and it's rainbow.
Sounds very cool.
There could also be glitter. There could be ribbons. I don't care. I just want something cute and rainbow.
I think that's very good.
Thank you so much for joining us on Me and You and Nancy Drew.
This podcast is lovingly dedicated to the memory of my wonderful mother, Shar, world's best mom, and the woman who got me hooked on sassy female detective stories. I also want to thank my brother, Ben, for creating most of our sound and music cues for this podcast. Thanks, Ben.
You can check out our website, meandyouandnancydrew.com, for show transcripts, links to our social media, and our Patreon, where we'll post any images that we described during the podcast. Those will be visible to anyone without a paywall, so that we're not describing nebulous images that you can't see at home. But if you'd like to become a patron, there are various perks there, including outtakes or things that got cut for time, stickers, and cross-stitch patterns to create your own Drewseum at home, and more.
Thank you, Megan, for editing the podcast, doing a lot of research about podcast creation, and adding a few additional sound cues as needed.
Thank you, Colleen, for also editing the podcast, for transcribing it, and for helping create our logo.
Thank you to our partners for all the support and love, and especially for lending us their microphones that they bought for a completely different purpose, but said we could borrow once in a while.
Thank you to libraries everywhere for giving access to Nancy Drew books and all the other books that we mentioned today, and just media of all kinds to people everywhere for free.
And finally, thank you, of course, to Carolyn Keene for independently writing each of the Nancy Drew books from 1930 to modern day. We couldn't do this without you and your 613 individual novels. Don't forget the moral of the story.
I should go back home and spend the rest of my life in bed.
When did they say that?
Rebecca said it on like page 3.